And I'm Karan Bhatia. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got tennis legend Lindsay Davenport on today for an early U.S. Open preview. But first, let's dive into the headlines in the shoot-around.
The shoot-around. Well, the $6.1 billion sale of the Boston Celtics is set to close, finally, in the next 2 weeks. Sources tell FOS new majority owner Bill Chisholm will finally take control after an NBA Board of Governors vote. So, Karan, I feel like we've been hearing about this sale, $6.1 billion to Bill Chisholm, this guy no one had ever heard of, for months now.
It's finally happening, right? So a couple takeaways. Of course, the valuation and the number, but also it's such a sacred thing to own a team, right? It doesn't matter how rich you are. And I know this team is near and dear to you, so I know you're going to have a lot to say about this, but it doesn't matter how rich you are, right? There's a limited supply of teams. So Bill Chisholm getting his opportunity here.
Yeah, and of course, it was only, a month after the news of Chisholm buying the team that we saw the Lakers have a majority sale at a valuation of $10 billion. So those numbers just keep going up. So much hate for Shedeur in the draft, and I thought it really got to kind of a level of it being mean, and he was pretty dang good at Colorado, so I hope he's great.
You can't script this redemption arc anymore, right? Falling to the fifth round, QB4 now gets an opportunity. Now, we'll see what he does, but when you get an opportunity, as you know well, Tom Brady and Drew Bledsoe, right?
Yeah,
things can happen.
Man.
So I actually think you can't understate how important this is for Shedeur Sanders. Lindsay, thanks for joining us. You mentioned all the stars at the Cincinnati Open and, of course, the U.S. Open coming up. I'm curious to your viewpoint as someone who's had so much success in tennis. We're seeing so many developments with technology. Yeah. They're thinking about bringing in AI, right, to make judgments. What are your thoughts on it all and how it's all coming together?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Tennis trying to become a little bit more modern in a very traditional sport. And in the last 5 or 10 years, we've seen the emergence of electronic line calling systems. So the lines people aren't out there anymore. This year, the big thing is electronic review for calls such as, was it a double bounce? Did the tennis ball hit the person before it went out?
We know that prediction markets, right? They can go into other things outside of sports, right? Politics and events. I'm curious if you think if this does come together, are DraftKings and FanDuel going to now be entering those type of markets outside of sports?
Politics, yeah.
That's a great question. If DraftKings were to, let's say, buy a stake in Kalshi, or if FanDuel was to buy an equity stake in Kalshi, they would immediately be involved in that, and you would be able to bet on whether it's going to rain today in New York City.
Well, Karan, we got to hope it's more accurate than these other statues we've seen. How many examples? The first one I think of is the Dwayne Wade, but really hard to actually nail a guy's face in these statues.
Well, Dwayne Wade actually liked his statue. He said it was an interpretation, which is interesting. We know Cristiano Ronaldo's was a little bit off. I was just at the Baseball Hall of Fame, and those plaques for CC Sabathia and Ichiro, they didn't look great. But I'm going to give you a little bit of ribbing. I know you're a big Boston fan here, New England fan. What if they used Brady's combine photo as the statue? That would be hilarious, at least to prank him, punk him. I don't know.